Nathan Mackinnon is the definition of confidence in games. He's calm, yet intense. He's dialed, yet he's loose and ready to attack at any time. He kind of looks like a lion ready to attack whenever he goes on the ice. And now, obviously, he has world-class skill. He has world-class speed. He is an awesome player. But what most people don't realize is players like Mackinnon don't just show up to the rink and hope that they're confident. They do things before the game even starts to make sure that they're consistently in the zone, in a flow state, and able to perform at their peak. What they have is a pre-game routine that allows them to be mentally, physically, and skill-wise prepared to perform at their best. So when the puck drops, they're able to flip a switch and let their instincts take over. I've worked with hundreds of players all the way from the AHL, all the way down through many different pro leagues, college, junior, and high-level minor hockey too. And here are the 7 key steps I teach any player who wants to make sure that they get into flow, feel confident, and perform at their best the most consistently they possibly can going into games. Most players skip a majority of these, so if you can implement even just a few of these into your game, you will have a great pre-game mental routine. And by the end of the video, you'll know what to do to go from nervous, scattered, and overthinking to being instinctive, fearless, calm, and just playing at your best. And by the way, if you want a full breakdown of how we help players to develop a full mental system so that not only are they prepared right before the game, but so that they've rewired their mental software to be as confident as they possibly can be, you can click below, you can check that out. There's also a free training below that too. So here's how the routine works. So I like to think of it basically what you do before your physical warm-up and then after your physical warm-up. If you're a hockey player, you know the routine. So your team is always going to do some kind of physical warm-up, right? Maybe you do it on your own. Ideally, you do it with the group, but ultimately you do something that's physical. You're going to do some sprints. Maybe you're going to do some bounding work. You're going to do a little bit of a stretch. You're going to kick the ball around in sewer, right? That's going to be a part of this kind of general warm-up time that's going to be in the range of 60 to 90 minutes before the game. Sometimes teams will push it all the way up to even like 30 minutes before. Now, I like to think of having a routine before that warm-up and then after that warm-up. Now, again, I'm not going to teach you how to do the physical warm-up. There's so many different ways you can do it. That's an entirely another process. But what you want to do when it comes to before to mentally get yourself in the right place is you want to do something I call the 3-3-3 method. So it's 3 minutes of meditation. What you want to do with this is just simply breathe. Bring your attention to the breath. Notice any thoughts that might be coming up. Just allow them to kind of drift by. When you do this, it allows you to let go of anything that's been going on during the day and bring yourself into the present moment as best you possibly can. A lot of times we have so much going on before the game, we have a hard time just centering ourselves. So take 3 minutes, just breathe, relax, and this will give you just enough time to get your brain to calm down and go into those lower brainwave states, which are going to increase the chances you get into flow state. Now, the next 3-minute chunk is going to be 3 minutes of visualization. Now, the key with this is to think of it like intention setting. You're basically creating intentions for your brain of what you want to see it do. So seeing yourself doing things offensively, defensively that you want to execute. I recommend just playing with this, having a few core things that you visualize. You can also write down on your notes in your phone, what are the core things I want to execute? You can start in your D zone. You can start with basic breakouts, work your way through neutral zone kind of transitions or zone entries or zone exits. You can work on how you want to attack in the zone in terms of, okay, what do I want to do on my 3-on-2s, my 2-on-2s, whatever it is. You can kind of play this out in your mind. Once you've done that for about 3 minutes, again, you can just use your phone and basically have a timer. Just 3 minutes goes off, move to the next one. The third piece is self-talk. Now, the key with this is it's not just about saying, I am the best, I am this, I am that. You can use I am statements, but it's more about getting yourself centered in terms of what do I want to be thinking? You want to get clear. You want to kind of center and collect your thoughts and decide, okay, what do I want to be thinking going into this game? What's important? What do I need to focus on? This gives you a little bit of space to simply just meditate on how you're going to think, where you're going to put your attention. And this basically sets something called your reticular activating system, which is, it's essentially the thing that's going to be subconsciously functioning in the background, watching for what to look for. If you say, I want you to focus on looking for opportunities to jump into the slot and get open, well, if you set that intention and then let your brain relax, you let that kind of front part of your brain relax, which is kind of like the thinking, the thing that worries, is scared, you will be more likely to do the things that you set the intention for during this kind of third 3 block. So that's your third kind of block, 3 minutes talking through how you want to think, what your intentions are for the game. And then once that last 3-minute timer goes off, you're good to go. You can go do whatever you want. Sewer, go hang out with your teammates, go warm up, you're good to go. This will put you in a really good spot mentally. And again, this is what I do with guys who are playing pro, guys who are playing high level college, junior. This works at any level. Now, again, you go do your team warm up or your physical warm up. You make sure your body is in a good place. And then after that, there are 3 core things that I recommend leading into the game. So this is going to typically be in that range of about 45 to 30 minutes before the game is usually when this starts. So you want to basically use the 3 M's method. And I learned this from Sam Martin, Martin. He has an awesome YouTube channel too. You can check him out. But it's music, movement, and mindfulness. So it's really good to have a set music playlist. I recommend you actually kind of have a similar playlist you listen to every single game. Why I recommend this is because if you have a consistent routine that you listen to of certain songs, it kind of puts you in a pretty consistent mental state going into the game. If it's totally different music every single time, it's going to be very hard to predict, okay, did this music actually get me into the right state? Because maybe it was a totally different vibe. It was totally different beats per minute. There's a lot of science that kind of suggests maybe the beats per minute can have an impact on your state going into the game. And again, there's a debate on if you need to be in the perfect state going into the game, but having a routine of music that you like allows you to relax, to calm down, to get yourself into a good place. And then when you go into the game, now you're going to feel really good, right? Because you're like, okay, I listened to the music. I know what vibe I'm in. You're going to feel solid. Again, the movement piece, this is again, after you've done your team warm up, I recommend that you do something that kind of activates your coordination if you haven't. So this might be stick handling. This might be kind of bouncing a tennis ball off the wall with your stick and kind of keeping it up in the air. This might be kind of practicing tipping where your teammate kind of shoots the tennis ball at you and you kind of knock it down and then pass it back. Things that work on hand-eye, things that activate your nervous system, but something kind of movement-wise that gets you into a flow. A flow is where you're in this kind of state of you're not pushing yourself too hard, right? You're not doing something that's like impossible before the game, but doing something that you know is challenging. Do a little bit of juggling stuff that's just on the edge of what you can handle to push yourself into that zone, get you more comfortable with your brain dropping down into that state. Because that's what we want, right? To be confident in a game, fundamentally, we want to be in that flow where we're connected to the moment. That's going to allow us to feel really good. And that's what makes hockey fun, is being in that flow state. And then the third piece is mindfulness. Now, everybody's heard this word if you've done any studying on what mental training is. All you need to do for this is just do some calm breathing. Just take 10 steady breaths right before the game. Ideally, it's kind of in that range about 5 to 10 minutes before you go out. You've got your gear on. Just take 10 breaths. And that sounds like nothing, but it will feel like a lot when you actually do it. Focus on the full inhale, exhale. 1. When you do this, it's crazy how quickly you realize, oh, my mind's a little distracted. But by the end of the 10 breaths, if you can just go 1, 2, and you do that repeatedly, you will feel different. And my recommendation is that there's 2 core ways you can kind of manipulate your breathing in general. Now, there's a lot of different little tweaks and methodologies of how you kind of do your inhale, the hold, the exhale, the hold. But fundamentally, I like to think of it's kind of flipping what they call a 1-to-2 ratio, or what I call a 1-to-2 ratio. So basically, it's inhale for 1 second, exhale for 2 is going to calm you down. Then inhale for 2, exhale for 1 is going to basically like fire you up. So if you want to basically get yourself into a really intense state, you can also do a 1-to-1, but the best that you're going to see is slower inhale. So and they call this also a fire breath, which we can break down in another video. But that's a really cool technique of fundamentally just taking 10 breaths, becoming mindful of your breath, and then deciding on, do I want to increase my intensity or do I want to calm myself down? Everybody has a different state that they're in, but trying to get yourself into the right state for you. For me as a player, I needed to do more of that kind of bringing my intensity up, and I struggled with doing that. And then for some players, they feel very anxious. They need to kind of bring their state down. So they would do a 1 inhale, 2 exhale. And again, the ratio just remains the same. The length of time for each breath can be different. So 2 seconds in, 4 seconds out, it's going to be calming. Now, if you do 4 seconds in, 2 seconds out, that's going to increase your energy and excitement level. And so that's 6 steps so far. I hope you've followed all 6 of them. And now the final 7th step is right before you go on the ice, you want to set clear intentions. You want to set 1 to 3 clear things that you want your subconscious mind to do. You want to think of it like setting targets for a heat-seeking missile. You're not trying to say, oh, I have to do this. You're saying, I trust that my subconscious mind or my instincts know how to make this happen. Now, all I need to do is basically send that signal to my subconscious mind to say, look for this thing, look for that thing. So maybe it's make more hits. Maybe it's look for opportunities to hold the puck more. But you set the intention clearly, and this is the most important thing that most players don't do, is you let it go. You literally let it go completely. Forget about it. Try not to hold on to it. Because once you set the intention, you are going to give your subconscious mind a signal to try to do it. And then you don't want to try to force it. That's what brings your egoic mind. That's what brings that voice in where you start overthinking, is when you set an intention, then you're like, ooh, okay, I got to do it. Let's get open. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. You got to relax. You got to calm yourself down. Trust in your instincts. Trust in your subconscious mind. That's the key. And so fundamentally, this routine does 2 core things. It allows you to be able to remove all the stuff that's kind of bumping around in your mind by meditating, by then visualizing and creating a picture of what you want to do on the ice, calming your system down, deciding how you want to think, setting those kind of clear intentions in terms of your self-talk for that third 3-minute 5-minute block. Then you do your team warm up. Then you come back. You're going to listen to some music. You're going to do some movements, get your hands and body kind of activated, your nervous system activated. And then you're going to do some basic mindful breathing, focusing, centering, dialing yourself in. You set a clear intention. And now when the puck drops, you're not hoping you get into a flow state. You're not hoping that you're dialed in. You'll know you're going to be dialed in because you did the routine. So the key is just execute this routine consistently. Put it down on your phone, have a checklist, check it off. And then eventually after you do this 20, 30 times, it will become automatic. But you just want to set it, practice it, get used to it. And then eventually it will just become part of your routine. And again, if you want help doing this, if you want a custom pregame routine with custom guided audio sessions, with support, with accountability coaches who can keep you on track, making sure you do this, being able to text us whenever you need, things like that, you can click below. You can learn about what it's like to work with us. We only work with a select group of people. We do not just work with anybody. We only select the players that we know we can help. You can check it out. You can apply. We'll reach out and let you know if we think we can help. Otherwise, keep following. We got tons more videos coming out that are free that will help you with 99% of the stuff that we teach for paid anyway. So use that stuff that's free out here. And if you have questions, comment below. If you like this video, let me know and I'll make more stuff about it.